What's up guys, Andy here, and today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. By different, I mean we're going to be starting the DIY series for my RX8, where I show you the basic tips for maintaining your RX8, keeping it healthy for as long as possible. Today we're going to cover the most basic routine maintenance you could do on your RX8. You probably already know where this is going. Yes, an oil change. Something every car guy should know how to do. It's just routine maintenance for your car. Let's get started. Let's take a look at everything I need to do an oil change for my RX8. For starters, I use a 3/8 ratchet. For our oil drain plug, you'll need a 19mm socket. Motor oil, for today I'll be using Redline synthetic oil 10W40. I'm switching from Castrol GTX 10W40 conventional oil, but that's a topic for another day. For me, I use a Wix spin-on oil filter, 51365 is the number. Been using it for years, no issues. I seem to like it more than Fram and any other oil filters you can buy at a local parts store. That's just all personal preference. Of course, an oil drain pan. And here you might have seen this tool here. I forgot the name of it, but it's really helpful for getting off a stuck oil filter. I'll get into more detail on that later on. Over here, you'll need 2 jack stands, one for each side, and a floor jack. And please, do not ever get under your car without a jack stand. Just for your own safety. Step 1. Let's jack up the car. Now that we jacked up both sides, let's drain the old oil out. Now going under the car, this is the oil pan. I don't know how well you can see with this lighting, but the oil drain plug is right there. I have a flashlight pointed at it just to give some lighting. It's a 19mm. Let's try to get it off. I don't know how well you can see that, but the oil's been draining for about a minute now. It's also a good time to take off the oil cap in your engine bay. So that tool I mentioned before, for getting any stuck-on oil filters, you attach your socket and an extension to it. See, put it on top of your filter, and as you loosen it, it grips tighter onto your oil filter and helps you spin it off. That makes sense. See, as I'm turning counterclockwise, it's also turning the oil filter. It only tightens if you go counterclockwise. Great tool. Saved me a few times when I had a stuck-on oil filter. So the oil is almost drained out. So it's a good time to get the old oil filter out. I don't know if you can see it back there. There it is. I'm trying to light on it. It should be the black oil filter back there. It's the Wix brand, same as the one I'm about to put in. Of course, counterclockwise is to get it loose. This is all personal preference, but I like to put a little extra newspaper under where the oil filter sits, since it sits with the opening pointed down, and you twist it off, some oil left over might drip onto your floor, and I just like to catch that. It makes cleanup a little bit easier. Now, something I like to do, I've been doing for many years now, is you take a little bit of oil, new oil, and you coat the O-ring around your new oil filter. I believe it creates a better seal when you put the new one in. It's been a few minutes now. We have the new oil filter in. It looks like the old oil is pretty much done draining out. So we're going to put back the oil drain plug. Remember, when tightening your oil drain plug, you don't have to tighten it too much. Just get it to about where it's tight enough, and then give it another quarter turn. Should be good to go. Another thing I like to do is I empty out the oil that drained into my oil drain pan into an empty container, and then once I see roughly about how much oil drained out, I measure that exact amount of my new oil and I fill up the car with that exact amount. But keep in mind, that's just a rough estimate. I do check the oil dipstick afterwards, of course after a test drive, just to make sure that I have a good amount of oil and not too high, not too low. That's one thing about these, you have to be careful. Do not overfill your oil. That's as important as not filling enough oil. Remember that. Something in particular about RX8s, if you overfill your oil, it can lead to other issues, unless you have something like an oil catch can, but in my case I don't. If you overfill your oil, the excess can end up being spit out into your intake tract, and that could eventually clog up your SSV, and you'll end up with maybe a check engine light code for SSV stuck open, or even worse, SSV stuck closed. So with the oil drain plug back on and tightened again, let's lower the car back to the ground. In my case today, I measured 3.5 quarts drained out in my oil drain pan. And the new oil I chose, the Redline 10W40, only comes in a 1 gallon container. That's 4 quarts. So I took an old empty container, poured half a quart into that, and then I'm going to pour the rest of the Redline into the car. Yeah. So with the oil filled up now, the only thing left to do is put the cap back on, take it for a test drive. Let's go. So I just got back from a test drive. Everything seems to be running smoothly. This is actually my first time running Redline 10W40 in my RX8 since I've owned the car. I've always been running Castrol GTX 10W40. I've heard nothing but good things about their ester-based Group 5 full synthetic oils, especially for rotary engines. This might look familiar to some of you. I have a lychee black tea with popping boba from Kung Fu Tea. Perfect timing after all this work. So yeah, hope you guys learned something new, how to do an oil change in the RX8. The same steps pretty much apply to any car, really. So, yeah, drain oil, plug back, put the new oil in, you're good to go. So, hope I taught you something, even taught you something about the RX8. So, see y'all next time.